Good morning. My name is Beth Staniforth-Seamster, and I am the Children's Ministry Coordinator for Whitewater Area Regional Ministry, here doing the children's time with all of you today. I hope everyone's having a great weekend. I hear that we are done with school for the year, so congratulations on completing the 2019-2020 school year. I look forward to seeing you again soon sometime soon, I hope. Checking in today, I want to say it's a good day. I hope that you guys are checking in with each other at home. However your day is going, I'm thinking about you. Today's scripture lesson tells us what happens to the disciples and Jesus' followers after Easter. So let's tell the story as the whole story so we remember what's happened and where we are now. We know that Jesus came to Jerusalem with a group of followers and that he was crucified, he died on a Friday, was put in a tomb, and that then his followers had to go away because it was the Sabbath. So last week we celebrated Easter when the women went to the tomb first thing in the morning and discovered that the tomb was empty. Jesus was not there. He had been resurrected. And as they turned around to go back, they met Jesus standing in the path, who told them, "Hello, and I've been resurrected. Go tell the others." Well, they did. They went and they told the others what they had seen. And shortly thereafter, Jesus appeared to the disciples and shared with them, said, "Peace be with you." Well, one of the disciples, a man by the name of Thomas, was not there with the rest of them when this happened. And so when the disciples said to him, "We've seen the Lord, he's been risen," Thomas said, "I don't believe you. No, you have not." I think that's totally understandable that was his reaction. Then he went on to say, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hand, unless I put my fingers in them and I put my fingers on his side where he was wounded, I will not believe this." A week later, they were sitting in a locked room, and Jesus appeared among them again and said, "Peace be with you." And this time, Thomas was there. And Jesus said to Thomas, See my hands? Reach out and touch them, and touch my side. Stop doubting and believe." It's a very powerful statement. At first, I think it's really easy to think that there's something wrong with Thomas. Why couldn't he just believe what the other disciples were telling him? Was there something wrong with his faith? Wasn't it strong enough? When I was in college, my very first semester, I met some people, some fellow students, who were saying things about God that I had never heard before. You maybe have heard some of these things. But they would say, "God has a plan for your life. Your story is already written. If God gets you to it, he'll get you through it. Let go and let God." Well, these people seem to have a lot of faith, and they always seem to know the right thing to say. So I thought, maybe I should listen. Maybe I should learn some more. But a strange thing began to happen to me when I followed them, when I followed that way of thinking about God. The more I tried to live into that, the less I wanted to have anything to do with God. Because suddenly, the God who'd always felt so close to me, who I'd prayed to every night, who talked with me, that God wasn't there. This God who had a plan, who had my story written, felt distant and cold and like someone who was doing things to me, and everything was a divine punishment or blessing based on something I didn't really have any say in. So I was praying less. I was feeling like God was looking very different, and there were some walls that were beginning to come up between God and I. Then I had an epiphany one day. Maybe God wasn't out there doing those things with some plan in place that I have no say in. Maybe instead God was walking this crazy life with me every single day. If that was the case, then my life probably wasn't pre-planned by God, but rather an ever-evolving adventure that was shaped by my passions and my questions and my doubts. Which meant that the things I was experiencing were not divine punishments or blessings from God or rewards from God, but rather natural consequences to actions that I made or that someone else made. And that the power of God was in his ability to be with me regardless of what came my way. I learned that God was not causing suffering, but rather that God was with me and all those who suffer. I love the story of doubting Thomas because it tells us that it is okay to have questions. And there is no question that should ever be off limits to God. Maybe these days you have some big questions that you're wrestling with. I think that's really normal. I think we all have big questions. Like, why is this happening? What is COVID-19 and why is it affecting us this way? Why are people I love off limits to me? Why can't I hug my grandparents or see my aunts and uncles? I want to go to school and see my friends and teachers. Maybe at home you're struggling with things like hunger or fear or anxiety, maybe even feelings of being unsafe. Whatever you're feeling, please know that God has not caused this. God is not punishing us for something that we don't understand or know. God is present with us every day and gives us people to help us through everything that we're going through. So remember that whatever you're struggling with, you can reach out and you can ask God for help. You can even just say, I don't understand this and it's unfair. That's perfectly acceptable. Nothing you ask will ever separate you from God's love. And just like doubting Thomas, we find that when we share our doubts, when we share our questions, sometimes we're brought even closer to the God who loves us unconditionally and promises to be with us. I pray for you this week that you are having a good week. I pray that you can find peace in the midst of all of this. Blessings and have a wonderful week. Thank you.